Have you ever been betrayed? Maybe a friend turned on you. Maybe someone you trusted spread rumors or broke promises or walked away when you needed them the most. The closer the person is, the deeper the wound. Betrayal cuts like few things do, because oftentimes it doesn't just come from an enemy, it comes from someone close to you. On Wednesday of Holy Week, we watched Judas, one of the 12, someone who had walked with Jesus for years, make a decision that would set the cross in motion. And here's what's incredible. Jesus knew, and he still chose love. Luke 22 verses 3 through 5 tells us, "Then Satan entered into Judas, who was one of the 12 disciples, and he went to the leading priests and the captains of the temple guard to discuss the best way to betray Jesus to them. They were delighted, and they promised to give him money. Judas turns Jesus over to the religious leaders for 30 pieces of silver. That is the equivalent to about $600 in today's standards. Judas had been a part of the inner circle. He had seen the miracles, heard the teachings, shared meals. He had watched Jesus raise people from the dead and feed the hungry and calm the storm. But somehow, greed, delusionment, or spiritual blindness, he opened his heart to betrayal. Jesus, being fully God, knew it was coming. He had every right to expose Judas, remove him, or stop the whole plan. But he didn't. Because while Judas was making a deal, Jesus had already made a decision. The decision to go to the cross, to endure pain, to absorb the betrayal, to rescue us from sin. When we go through deep relational pain, abandonment, rejection, or betrayal, it's easy to feel alone and to question God. The Bible reminds us that Jesus didn't just suffer physically, he suffered emotionally. He didn't just face a cross, he faced the heartbreak of being sold out by a friend. Why didn't he stop Judas? Because Jesus had already chosen the path of sacrifice. He allowed the betrayal so he could finish his mission, rescuing us from sin and death. If you've ever thought, why did they leave me? How could they hurt me like that? Will I ever trust again? Friends, hear this. Jesus not only understands that pain, but he heals it. Because of his betrayal, crucifixion, and resurrection, your wounds do not have the final say. He can bring peace where there was turmoil. He can bring forgiveness where there is bitterness. And he can bring purpose from your pain. A scar is a wound that has healed. It doesn't mean the pain never happened, but it does mean the story didn't end there. Jesus wants to turn our wounds into scars, testimonies of his healing grace. If you've ever been hurt, abandoned, or betrayed, know this: Jesus understands. And his response wasn't revenge, but love. That's the kind of Savior he is. He walks with us through pain and gives us hope that our wounds can heal. Judas walked away from Jesus, but Jesus never walks away from you. In your pain, in your heartbreak, in your betrayal, Jesus stays. He understands, he forgives, he restores, and most importantly, he loves you still. If you're carrying pain from betrayal, bring it to Jesus. Let him carry it with you. If you're struggling to forgive, ask Jesus to help you love the way he does. If you feel like Judas, like you failed Jesus, don't hide. He still calls you friend. He still offers grace. Your story isn't over. Your wound isn't wasted. And your Savior is still with you, even in betrayal.